when you're potentially looking at these blood tests, you're seeing all of these results. We've spoken about dehydration. Where else are people typically making mistakes in their own health and fitness? Welcome everyone to the main journey, a way for you to join me on a learning journey through life. My name is Samuel Main, and today we welcome James Eagle to the show. James helps you optimize your health, elevate energy, enhance performance, and increase well-being by combining personal training, holistic nutritional support, and functional medicine. James creates a personalized approach to health and fitness that helps you lose weight, reach your fitness goals, and perform at your peak. James also coaches multiple football players, professional football players, which I cannot wait to delve into further. I've been fortunate enough to coach thousands of fitness professionals globally, and having spoken with James multiple times and seen behind the scenes of how he serves clients, he has an incredible approach to serving clients, and I'm excited to delve into those results, transformations, and the delivery that he has. So welcome to the show, James. Excited that you are here, my friend.
Yes, man. It's quite the intro.
There it is. No pressure, right?
Yeah, there we go.
Love it. Love it. So, dude, I would absolutely love just to start with a further insight into what you do and actually how you serve clients.
Yeah. So depending on who I'm working with, because I'm a functional medicine practitioner, clients come to me with, well, all sorts of reasons. But for example, the football players, they'll come to me. I'll run a battery of tests. So I'll run blood test, stool test, saliva, and urine. Through that, you'll get a decent picture of their overall physiology. So how things are working, what's going on, do they have certain things holding them back? So we call them health anchors. So if you have like an anchor pulling you back, then you're not going to reach your full potential. So if you can get in there and get rid of the root cause, then you're going to allow that person to reach their full potential. And basically that's what I do through kind of labs. And then you can do supplementation protocols and nutrition and lifestyle kind of habits to make them perform at their best.
Love it. I love that term of their anchors. So the 4 tests, sorry, I've got blood, stool, urine, and which one did I miss?
Saliva.
Saliva. Interesting. So if you were to only pick one of those, which one is the most important, or what gives you the most metrics?
Blood test. Blood test is it's the most scientifically valid. So that's why every single doctor uses blood tests. Not to say that others aren't, but blood tests can show you so much. So that's why I do run blood tests with a lot of people as well. And then through that, you can see if you need to do further investigation.
Interesting.
So blood test is a really good way to start. So that's why, yeah, blood test, doctor will run like a basic blood panel will be like a CBC, which is a complete blood count, and maybe a metabolic panel. And then through those 2 panels, you can see so much.
Love it. I love it. And for a blood test then, is there a prescribed age? Is there a certain time that someone should be going and getting a blood test? Or is it like this is something that everyone should go and do?
This is something everybody should do this. So this is why I say to like every single person should get this done once a year, because there's so much you can tell from a simple blood test. And then the best thing is once you have a blood test done, so if you do it 1 year, you've got a decent amount of data, but then once you still start doing it year on year, then you start getting to see like the full picture and kind of see the trends that are going on. So you can start predicting things before they actually happen.
Wow.
So if you start seeing those trends, then you can intervene with something, with a certain protocol, whatever it is, and then you can stop what's about to happen. So for example, like type 2 diabetes.
Okay, love it. Should someone get a blood test if they feel that everything is good?
Yeah. So this is one big thing. So recently, actually this week, maybe Tuesday, I had a friend that I used to work with. I got his bloods done. Super healthy guy, like 26 years old. I won't tell you like what's going on, but yeah, super healthy. He's in the gym. He's decent size, big guy. He's lean, like looks like he's the epitome of health. But then you get his results back and you're like, oh, dude, we have to do further investigation.
Wow.
And I've had that. That's come back a few times as well. So people that look like they're super healthy from the outside, once you see what's going on the inside, it's going to be a completely different ballgame.
Interesting. When you look at the results of the blood test,
Yeah.
are there any specific metrics that are like the true red flags that you're looking for?
Yeah, big ones can be your red blood cell count, or for example your white blood cell count. So yeah, this one is the one that pops up a lot. So within your white blood cell count, you have a differential, which is 5 different markers. So you have your neutrophils, your lymphocytes, your monocytes, your eosinophils, and your basophils. So these are your 5 white blood cells, and they all come back in a percentage. So your neutrophils should be 60%, they're most dominant, and then neutrophils. No, I said neutrophils. Neutrophils, no, neutrophils should be 60%. Sorry, lymphocytes should be 30%. Monocytes should be about 7. Eosinophils should be about 3, and basophils shouldn't even be there. But if they come back at certain different ratios, it can be indicative of you have like certain parasites or bacterial infections. So then that's where you would start looking at doing other tests.
Really, really interesting. So someone's come in, they've had a blood test, and they've now got this whole array, or you've got this whole array of data. So you start by ultimately looking at red blood count, white blood count. Would you mentioned there like parasites? Would there be anything else that's kind of majorly affecting those two things?
Yeah, there could be. So dehydration is another big one. So a lot of people are dehydrated as well. So even just your red blood cell count, your hemoglobin will increase, your hematocrit, which is the amount of red blood cells within the blood draw. That will increase as well, just because plasma's decreasing because you have less you're not as hydrated.
Wow.
So there's things you can tell just by those two. So that's why it's so handy. I think you can just go to your doctor and just ask for a CBC and maybe like a CMP, and just as a checkup. But the only thing is, once you so one of the cool things in functional medicine, they say treat the person, not the paper. So a lot of people, this is why you can get a blood test just ordered over the internet, and it will spit out all the information to you. But if you don't have someone who knows how to interpret the data, you're literally just going to see, for example, something's low. Maybe you'll be like, so if vitamin D was low, for example, you just say, oh, I'll just supplement with vitamin D. But vitamin D could be low for thousands of reasons.
Okay.
So this is why you need someone to look at other markers, and then you can start correlating other markers with specific markers. And then it's good to have a very in-depth questionnaire to go along with it. So then you start correlating the paper with the person.
I suppose that's that holistic approach, right? It's actually looking at the bigger picture to decipher what's wrong.
Yeah, that's it.
You mentioned the dehydration. Is that then one of the most common pitfalls for people? Is dehydration?
Yeah, to be honest with you, most people I've dealt with actually are dehydrated. So a lot of people, especially in London, so many of my clients are in London, and London it has very hard water.
Yeah.
So a lot of people filter their water because it's so hard. So they filter the water, drink the water, but filtered water, it filters all the bad stuff, but also filters all the minerals. So it filters all the good stuff. So true hydration is actually water and electrolytes. So you need that balance.
So for me, I only would typically take electrolytes if I've done extensive amounts of exercise, or if I've done a long hike or climb or something like that.
Yeah. So
Very
even
rarely would supplement in my like every day. But should that be something that
you can even just put salt back in your water, or just add more salt to your food. So it doesn't have to be an actual electrolyte supplement.
Yeah.
Literally. So what I used to do, because when I lived in Canary Wharf, we used to filter all of our water.
Yeah.
And I used to have a Himalayan rock salt, and I'd dip it into my glass of water, and then just a few dunks, and then just take it out.
Interesting.
Just do that each time, just to replenish the nutrients.
Because it's one of those things where everyone's like, oh no, I do drink enough. But actually,
sorry, your physiologist says otherwise.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Okay, dehydration for one. I'm like, I've got a drink next to me. I'm just gonna take a sip and just
every time I say that on the to a client like this, I'm like, oh, constantly
love
sip.
it. Love it. So when you're potentially looking at these blood tests, you're seeing all of these results. We've spoken about dehydration. Where else are people typically making mistakes in their own health and fitness?
Then past that, so many people are just stressed to the gills, and we don't have ways to kind of mitigate stress.
Yeah.
So stress seems to be a big one. But you see that kind of more through saliva testing. So that's more like your cortisol and DHEA ratio.
Okay.
But yeah, stress is a big one because it depletes so many different things in the body. It messes testosterone. It messes it can mess your white blood cell count. It messes everything. So it's crazy. You can actually you can get ulcers within your stomach from just your thoughts, from just thinking.
Wow.
That's
So
just ways. So just finding ways to calm down or get that kind of parasympathetic activity throughout the day is so important. So one of the things when I send my clients, I have a whole menu of parasympathetic activities, so things that calm people down that are like all scientifically based, and I'll send them that like when through our kind of training cycle.
super interesting for me because I'm active, I train, I have a relatively good understanding of nutrition. And one of the things I wanted to talk about today was actually, okay, natural ways to boost your own testosterone because of the magnitude of benefits that can have. So then it's really interesting for me to hear that stress is a big indicator on the decrease of testosterone.
Huge. It's probably one of the biggest killers. So how your sex hormones work? So you have so pregnenolone. Pregnenolone is the like mother of all sex hormones. And then from here, it will either drop down like an anabolic pathway.
Yeah.
So from here, you'll go to like DHEA, androstenedione, you get testosterone, DHT, you do your estrogens, or you can come this way. This will go over to progesterone, and then this drops down to cortisol.
Okay.
So a lot of people are stealing, they're not going down this pathway, they're going straight over to the progesterone and cortisol pathway. So then this is so much more catabolic to the body. So then if you're in the gym and you're training all the time, but you're stressed to the gills, you're going down this pathway, this catabolic pathway, and you're not going down this anabolic pathway. So you're not going to be getting the most out of your sessions. So it's so important to try and get that kind of parasympathetic activity throughout the day, or just calm yourself down.
Yeah, that's so interesting because when I look back, and even some of my own training, when I've been training loads and doing everything possible to become the best athlete and perform better, but at the same time know that, okay, I've been stressed, trying to run a business and the multiple things I'm trying to achieve. It makes sense that I haven't seen as much performance as I'd like to see. And that's because of that stress. And that never came to me as a reason of why my physical performance was suffering, which is super, super interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, especially kind of as like entrepreneurs, you're just non-stop, aren't you? You're flying.
Yeah.
Go, 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 go.
Yeah, I could say that. Could say that.
What you like.
I mean, I'd like to say my next question then is like, okay, well, what are the best ways to reduce stress? But it's a very broad.
So so I've done a lot with this. So it's very dependent on the person.
Yeah.
So I could say go and have like a bath, like a relaxing bath. But if you hate baths, you're gonna sit there and you'll be annoyed and you're not gonna be relaxed. But things like just going for a walk in nature, that's been shown to like reduce blood pressure, reduce heart rate, reduce so many different things. Just because while you're in there, you do just calm. You're in nature. There's actually terpenes released from trees, which actually kind of helps us relax.
Love it.
So this certain like compounds from the trees or the plants are released, and this like brings you back down. So this is why when you're in nature, you're just naturally a bit more calmer. There's so many different things. Meditation's a big one, like journaling, all that kind of stuff.
So if stress has this massive impact then on testosterone, I'm not taking any supplements or any additional things, and I'm not injecting testosterone and different variations you can get. I know a lot of people gravitate towards that because they feel that maybe be their saving grace. So for someone that is stressed out the eyeballs, would even taking those additional supplements and getting the extra support to boost their testosterone, would that actually even serve them?
I mean, it wouldn't serve them. It would serve them as it would increase their testosterone, because just in exogenous anything, if you inject it, especially hormones, you're not going to get away from it increasing it. But you need to, thing with like lab testing, the thing with lab testing, you do it so you find the root cause of what's going on in your physiology.
Mhm.
So you find the root cause to why this is maybe bringing you down or bringing like a hormone down. So you get rid of that root cause, and then you can flourish from there. So if stress was your root cause, you're just spinning your wheels really, because you haven't actually identified the actual root cause or got rid of that. You're just going to keep bringing it. It's like when you're so tired, you just keep drinking coffee.
Yeah.
You need to go to sleep. That's your body's way of saying, right, let's go to sleep. But we keep drinking coffee, and we don't actually find the root cause. So that's the thing. So with stress, you just need to, it's such a big one, and it's linked to so many different diseases. It's linked to so many different things. So just trying to mitigate stress as much as possible is it's huge.
So knowing that you work with both, let's say, average Joes, and then you also work with, professional athletes at ultimately the peak of their performance. This may be a really silly question, but do you see a massive distinction between the results that you're seeing, or is there still big commonalities?
Would depend on what I'm doing, but I could get average Joe way better results because the athlete is already at the top of their game. So when I'm working with athletes, I'm literally just getting the last like few percent. So I'm kind of finding what's holding them back with inside their physiology. So that's where it's one of the guys I've done a lot of like work with is Dan Garner, and he says you try and work from the outside in with like your nutrition, that kind of stuff, and then the labs you work from the inside out.
That's cool.
So I try to take both ways. So with the athletes, you take kind of the inside out approach, and you figure out like that performance anchor or the health anchor that's holding them back, and you let them. As soon as you get rid of that, then they can perform. So there.
Okay. So I want to bring a potentially challenging opposite perspective.
Yeah.
But the average Joe is a blood test potentially overkill, and I'll expand a little bit more. Does the average Joe simply need to start, walking more, lifting weights a couple of times a week, eating better, sleeping more, reducing stress? Or is this blood test still something that is like gonna help them have those leaps and bounds in their progress?
If you don't get a yearly blood test, then 100% I would say get it done. It's probably one of the best things you can do. That's the thing. Like every single year you'll MOT your car, won't you?
Yeah.
Because you have to figure out kind of what's going on the inside, and you have no qualms about MOT in your car.
Yeah.
But we don't like MOT ourselves.
Yeah.
And this is our only like vehicle. This is our only biological vehicle. You can't trade this in for a new one.
Yeah.
So you just need to, it may be a little bit of money, but the benefits you can get from it are crazy. And especially if you do it each year and you can start seeing the trends, it can make such a difference.
I can definitely see the impact of like stacking those tests. So like for me, when you say go and have a blood test, I straight away go, I don't want to go to a hospital and walk in and go and have to go through that procedure, but I'm going to assume that that's not the case.
No. So if you want to pay a little bit more like the football players, I can send a nurse straight to your house. So there's different ways you can do it. You can get a nurse to your house, you can get phlebotomists to your house, or you can just go to different clinics and they'll do it. Depends who you do it through. There's plenty of companies online, and I think they just have phlebotomists that will either come to you, or you can go to them, just go to a certain clinic. So for example, I deal with a lot of the super drug clinics. They're just all around the country. I'll send guys to super drug clinics. So it's just nice and easy. And it's super easy to get your blood drawn. It's literally like 5 minutes, you're in and out.
Yeah. Love it. So you mentioned blood test. You spoke a little bit about the saliva test. What are you looking for in a stool test?
Stool test will be certain, so it's like commensal, so certain like bacterial populations. So there's certain bacteria that we should have certain ranges of, and there's one we don't really want to have too much of. So we're seeing the ranges of those, and then you have like pathogens, so certain like parasites and things that you don't want any of.
Yeah, and is that virtually the same then also for the urine test?
So urine test, no, you through that you can look at oxidative stress, you can look at liver function, and then you can see like protein maldigestion as well.
Okay.
So there's a few different tests you can run, but that's the one I usually run.
Yeah.
So oxidative stress.
So you at this stage you've done a magnitude of tests. Then what's like the procedures? Do you give like a nutrition plan? Is it a supplement plan?
Yeah.
Is
So
it both?
yeah. So especially with, for example, football players, it has to be very stringent because the supplements they can take they all have to be licensed. They all have to be batch tested.
Yeah.
So the amount of the array of supplements you can take is very minuscule. There's not many they can take.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of things have to be done nutritionally. So for both for professional athletes and just regular clients I have, I'll take them through a whole supplement protocol, and depending obviously what's going on,
Yeah.
and then a whole meal plan, and then obviously training as well for average
There's
Joes.
a bit of everything. I love that we said average Joes. You're not
Yeah.
average people. You're not.
Apologies to any clients if you're listening.
I brought it up, so I'll take
You're not
I'll take
average.
the hit on that one. So I'm intrigued. Let's say you have someone who's either a vegan or a vegetarian.
Yep.
Is there any commonalities that you see in their blood tests? Have you worked with many that have that choice? And I'm not down talking on these. I want to talk also about the carnivore in a minute, but
No, yeah.
yeah, I'm just intrigued on what the potential impact is there.
Cool. No, I haven't worked with any vegans or
Okay.
vegetarians. No, since I've been doing it.
Yeah.
I have done previously, but yeah, no. So there's nothing I can tell you. Kind of.
Yeah, makes sense. And so if I flip that towards, have you worked with any essentially carnivores where they only predominantly eat meat?
Just my dog. No. No. No, I actually haven't. No.
Okay, I'm going to assume that's the healthiest dog on the planet.
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely love it.
yeah.
So if you were to prescribe then not even a diet, but a way of eating
Yeah.
to optimize health,
Yeah.
on health and performance,
Yeah.
for the average Joe,
Yeah.
what would be the principles that you kind of live by?
Principles, I would say, first find something you can adhere to.
Mm-hmm.
So if it is the carnivore diet, whatever it is, make sure that's going to be number one is adherence. Next is depending on its goal, very goal dependent.
Yeah.
So I'll always work adherence first. So for example, if it's a pyramid, adherence, calories, then fix your macronutrients, then fix your micronutrients, and then you can go supplements after that.
Yeah.
That would be the order I'd say to look at things. So if you haven't fixed your macronutrients or your calories, they don't really have any business looking at supplementation. Because you need to fix the big rocks first before you start looking at the kind of fancy things. Unfortunately, everyone looks at the fancy things.
Yeah.
I did. There was a stat that the supplement industry compared to the health service industry, for example, like gyms, is like quadruple.
Yeah.
We're always looking for the quick fix. But yeah, go to basics. So adherence, calories, macros, micro supplements.
Really, really interesting. We all make that jump.
Always. Yeah.
All want that quick fix.
Yeah.
All want that quick fix.
And that's the same with the so going back to the stress and the parasympathetic activities. There you go. Everyone's always like, oh, what can I take instead?
Mm-hmm.
But no, you're missing the point.
Doesn't work like that. Super interesting. So obviously there's a very, very popular PT who's grown in the ranks and also doing some amazing things, James Smith. And he has his quote, I believe, is it calorie fucking deficit or just calorie deficit?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that message or on that kind of approach, let's say?
Here we go. I say it's 100% true. There's no getting away from thermodynamics. This 100% calorie deficit is, if you want to lose weight, that's where you have to be. I think just shouting at people isn't really that helpful. And when you get into the consideration of things like thyroid function and this kind of stuff, even though it still does come down to calorie deficit, there are certain things that can kind of throw a spanner in the works. But I think he just has to kind of be polarizing, doesn't he? To kind of, you have to be polarizing in this world, like Instagram and that kind of stuff, social media. You have to be polarizing. You have to say something like that to get the eyeballs on you. But I think it probably could just be done in a bit more of a helpful way.
Yeah, I think I agree actually, in that ultimately, obviously he's done amazing things, but it's massive audience, served and helped, hundreds of thousands of people at this stage.
And that's it. He wouldn't have done that without that
Yeah,
message. So
yeah,
that's
I
the thing.
agree. But I also think potentially is there now an opportunity for him to maybe change that, to make that a more holistic, better approach?
Yeah, yeah, very true. Yeah. So I'm not too familiar with so I know that about him, but I'm not too familiar with anything else about him, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
Um
Have
but
you
yeah,
have you seen the new? Is it the Liver King?
Liver King. Oh yeah, I've seen the Liver
Have you
King.
seen that?
Yeah.
Okay, is he natural or is he not?
Uh no comment. No, I'm gonna say I would personally say no, he's not natural.
Well, I mean, hey, he's killing the content creation game.
That's the thing. That's the thing with social media. You have to be pretty polarizing to get like a lot of views.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to be told, yeah, adherence
yeah.
to a diet.
So I'm interested. We've spoken about like a lot about the nutrition aspect.
Yeah,
How does the style of training that someone may follow,
yeah,
how does that potentially alter some of the bloods or the tests that you do?
yeah. Good question. So it wouldn't alter the tests. It may alter some of the results that come back.
Mhm.
For example, like creatinine. So creatinine is a marker. It can be a liver function marker, but it's also increased with people with more muscle mass or decreased with people with more muscle mass. So there are a few markers that, and same with some of the proteins. Um, some of the red blood cell count can be. There's a few things that can be mixed up
Yeah.
depending on how hard someone's training. Um, so yeah, does that answer the question?
Yeah, the question comes to mind. If I gave you a spectrum of analytics, do you think that you could draw someone's body composition from them?
From what, looking at someone's lab
Yeah.
results, um, you could get a decent idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you can
Interesting.
get a decent idea. But the main thing with so yeah, you sent Greg over to me, didn't you? So I
Yeah.
went through. Can I say his name?
Yeah, you can. We
I
call
won't
him
say his
Tom Cruise.
I won't say his last name. I say Tom Cruise. Yeah. So one of the things he's obviously super busy, like super busy man. So he was did his labs, but he didn't want to go through the questionnaire.
Yeah.
So with the questionnaire, you need that kind of correlation. So it does make it very hard. You can get a very good idea, but then you need the questionnaire, the really in-depth questionnaire to start correlating things. Be like, that's why this is up, or this could be up for this. So yeah, you do need that, but you could get a decent picture of somebody, yeah, just from someone's blood work.
So someone comes, they get the blood testing, they get the nutritional then feedback. Do you see big physique transformations, or is it mainly just from a health perspective that they see or feel those changes?
Uh, both. So yeah, so mainly my general population clients are mainly weight loss.
Mhm.
So a lot of them are weight loss.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, just by because once your physiology is running how it should, it makes everything so much easier. Your body will give up fat so much easier. You'll build muscle so much easier. So once you're in homeostasis, once you're in a balanced position, then your body will just start reacting a lot easier. So
Okay.
yeah, so it will just become a lot easier. So it's so much easier to lose weight. It's so much easier to gain some muscle. So it's like we said, like when you start going down that anabolic
Yeah.
pathway, then your body just starts running a lot better.
So that links back to that adherence as well. Is it
And
starting with that adherence and then essentially building from there?
yeah, yeah, and just by doing the blood test, it gives you a bit more. So it's people because people can see the results, and they would adhere it to it a bit more because they have seen the actual results. So it's so, for example, before I was doing any of the lab testing, if I was just to give recommendations, it's not like I haven't got any evidence to back it up. But when they see it all on the paper, and I take them through the
Yeah.
report on like this Zoom call, and then they see everything, they're like, this is why I'm doing this, and this is why I'm
Yes.
doing this. So I think it does help with adherence as well.
So there's no invariables there.
Yeah, no,
There's yeah, there's no way to get around the quantifiable
no,
numbers, I suppose.
yeah, that's
So
it. So it's on.
then obviously I work alongside a lot of online coaches, personal trainers, helping them build an online business.
Yeah.
why would someone go to a personal trainer or an online coach, or are personal trainers and online coaches delivering a good enough product? Because obviously the level that you're going to is
Yeah,
far beyond what majority of population can do
yeah,
from a working perspective.
yeah.
Um, do you feel then the question is, do you feel personal trainers, nutritionists should be looking to expand on their own knowledge base to get to this level that you're at?
No, not at all. I think it's very niche what I do. I don't think there's no way you have to do blood tests. There's no way you have to do any of this kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Everybody can get awesome results by not doing any of this.
Mhm.
But I feel this is where the industry will end up going because we want everything's becoming so personalized
Yes.
and everybody wants to know so much about themselves. I think this is the way the industry will be going, or maybe should be going. But yeah, no way. I mean, the online coaches, personal trainers, they do a wicked job, and it's not for everybody. So
Yeah.
this is more for the kind of the elite athletes, or the people that really want to like delve into a bit more like about themselves, or if they have just any issues, if they have fatigue or they have like skin conditions. There's certain symptoms that people have that by doing these tests, you can get rid of the root cause, and then you can start relieving some of these symptoms.
Yeah, I love that. I agree that I believe that the industry is going this way in having a more quantifiable way of demonstrating results.
Yeah, because it's coming with so many. We've got so many apps. We've got so many
Yeah.
Aura rings,
Yeah.
watches, the Whoop. All these people just love quantifiable data.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially I come from work. I worked in Canary Wharf for 8 years in London, and they're just all numbers, just numbers,
Yeah.
numbers, numbers. So once you get to show them this, they're like, oh, a
Yeah.
spreadsheet. They love a good spreadsheet. So once they see this, it's yeah, they love it.
And there's not a huge amount of evolution in our biology, in that ultimately if we pretty much got it down to an art in the things that you need to do to get into amazing shape.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Anyone can get in. So that's the thing. You can get into amazing shape without any of this testing.
Yeah.
And people have done for
Yeah.
so
Longest time.
yeah for the longest time. So yeah, it's really not for everybody. But I would say a blood test each year should be for everybody.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's something that I definitely need to go and lock in myself. What I meant by saying how much now more data we've got, by having someone track their sleep, track their daily activity, tracking then their own workouts, tracking their bloods, you
Yeah,
could pinpoint where they're going wrong and what we need to do to spin that around. And I agree. I think that where the industry is going. You
yeah.
mentioned Aura rings, Whoops, fitness, Fitbits, things like that.
Yeah.
Are there any trackers that you personally use or would recommend?
Yep, I've used Aura Ring for since it came out. I was part of their beta testing group, so I've done like research and
That's
stuff
cool.
with it. That was cool. I've used them for the longest time, and that's literally it.
Yeah.
That and a heart rate monitor for specific uh cardio and whatnot.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. I've personally got an Aura ring. I've had one for probably the last 2 years,
Yeah,
and it does really help for your own awareness
yeah,
of, mainly for me, the sleep, not so much the activity,
yeah.
because I don't. Yeah, just because it's so difficult to wear in the gym. I can't grab a barbell with the Aura ring, so that makes it a little bit tricky. But the sleep data is brilliant.
Yeah. Did you ever see the first generation?
No, I did
They
not.
looked like pimp rings. They were like it was like having this. It was like this, just sat on your finger.
Wow,
Went to the gym, and a few of the guys I work with just rinsed me for a few days straight, and I was like, oh, I can't wear this anymore.
great,
Yeah, it was brilliant.
great, love it, love it.
But no, they are really good, especially for HRV as well. But the one thing, especially with clients, it can be a bit of a downfall as well. So if they wake up kind of feeling fresh, you look at your HRV and it's lower than normal, and then they just psychologically be like, oh, I'm not as good as I
Yeah,
thought I was. And then that just brings them down. And then they're like, oh, maybe I should have a rest day. And we're like, no, 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 no. Don't yeah, don't put too much stock in that. You still want the self-awareness. You still want to be in tune with your body, but it is a good tool, but just know it is just a tool.
yeah. I've definitely experienced that myself,
Yeah.
and for me, I was looking at kind of REM sleep, and you feel like amazing. You're like, oh, I actually didn't get that much sleep last night. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, then maybe I should take it easy. Maybe, make these changes.
Yeah.
Have you seen in the past that Apple Watches, they have now a function where they actually recognize when someone is having a heart attack or um, is almost predicting a heart attack. And it's
Oh,
actually saved multiple lives,
really?
which is pretty crazy where you think like, okay, that's where we're at right now. Where's that going to be in another 10 years, 20?
Oh, that's yeah. So I've got a friend that did some work with NASA for nutrition and things, and they reckon you'll have a wearable that will track like it will track your blood, so you know exactly in real
Yeah.
time like what's going on, so you know exactly what you need to eat, exactly what
Yeah.
you predict things straight away. Yeah, it'll be the future will be crazy.
Yeah. And
Just
I think you're right when you say like it links then to that quantifiable data as well.
yeah.
Um, there's the option now for diabetics, isn't there, to have a 24/7 blood insulin tracker.
Oh, insulin. Okay, yeah.
I think so. And you think if they can do that, that will,
Yeah,
that's you link that to also your heart rate, what it's going to be capable is going to be incredible.
yeah. Well, yeah. It's gonna be insane.
And I think it'll also, to a certain extent, unfortunately, I think that apps, online coaching, things like that will essentially almost eradicate in-person training
Yeah,
because the quality that you'll be able to get through an app or through online will be way better than the 20-year-old personal trainer that's in the gym.
yeah. Or once they start hologramming trainers into
Yeah.
gyms. But that's
Yeah.
the thing. There is. But at the moment, there is no replacement for, especially an in-person personal trainer for things
Yes.
like technique, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is huge. So that's why I think in-person personal trainers have that over online coaches for sure. Because I have clients, they do videos for me, etc. But yeah, there's no replacement for the in-person, because you can feel someone, you can get them into position, all that kind of stuff.
It's also for some people, let's say going to the gym isn't their core reason isn't to get fit and healthy. It's because of they want that social, they want
A sexy trainer.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Spot on, spot on. They also want that accountability, right?
Sure.
That's a massive piece of it. So with your study, with your journey that you're on right now, is there anything else that you're looking to lean further into? You already mentioned it's very niche what you do.
Yeah, just diving down the rabbit hole of lab testing, yeah, even more. Yeah,
What?
there's so much to learn. Yeah, it's ridiculous, and it's forever changing. But the more you can, the more you can find out about physiology and how it in every single kind of organ system interacts with one another, the more you can help people.
I love that. I'm super intrigued to hear that you say it's always changing.
Yeah, well, because just new research is always coming out.
Okay,
So,
so
for example, everyone used to think probiotics were a good idea. Now they're kind of thinking that maybe not a good idea. Yeah, research is always just evolving. So just you have to stay on top of all the research.
interesting.
Yeah, and just there's so much to learn about the body
Yeah.
that we're barely just scratching the surface.
So I remember when I was studying for my dissertation, and my dissertation, I done the cardiovascular responses to CrossFit training principles. God, that's a
Oh
throwback
wow.
for me.
Yeah.
Um, my perspective on the research and especially peer-reviewed research has massively changed, and the reason for that was whilst I was at the university, I remember Gatorade were paying
Oh
for
yeah.
this study to go ahead.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was extremely corrupt.
Yeah.
There's no other way to put it. So I've really struggled in a way now to really trust a lot of that research.
Yeah, that's so true. That's why you have to try and get a consensus of the body of research instead of just
Mhm.
one paper, because you can find a paper for anything.
Yeah,
Literally, if you have a bias, if you think veganism's the best or you don't like veganism,
yeah.
you find research papers for both. So it's getting a consensus of like the whole body of the literature. But yeah, it takes time. You have to just sift through so many different papers. There's research reviews, talk to different people. There's so much. But yeah, you're right. There's so much research funded by
Yeah,
whoever wants a certain outcome,
so
which
messed up.
is sad. But I guess that's in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're not wrong. It is in everything. It's in all the social. It's in all of the
yeah,
videos, the content everyone sees. I suppose
yeah,
that's a deep rabbit hole. That one.
yeah. Yeah, we'll get to the flat Earth theory after a
Yeah.
while.
So you mentioned you want in your own personal study to delve more into the lab testing, understand even more about physiology. What about a business space? Are you looking to lean further into helping professional footballers? Are you trying to build a business for the average Joes, as I like to call them? I
Yeah,
know I'm included in that.
yeah. So my biggest thing was always wanted to get back into schools and help kids with like nutrition and training. But I always felt I had to get to a certain level because my goal is to train athletes and celebrities.
Yeah,
So I always wanted to do that because I felt that would give me the clout to then be able to go into schools, and they're more likely to listen to someone that has done that kind of stuff. So that's my main thing, is I want to eventually get into schools and try and help people try and help the younger generation, basically.
love that. It's saddening for me to hear that you almost have to go and get that clout to then
Yeah,
be, your experience and study alone should already be enough.
yeah. But I just, maybe that's my issue. Maybe I just don't think that is enough. But yeah, I've just always felt, yeah, because it's just, I'm not sure. I just think it's just, I know if someone came in and when I was at school and they had dealt with these kinds of people, I'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
I'd probably be more likely to listen to the person. Um,
Yeah, I think I would challenge that
yeah,
because
this is, you
genuine
had
question, have you spoken at any schools yet?
man, you sound like Ben. You had Ben Owen on, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So he's already challenged me on this. Um, no, I haven't. No, I haven't. But yeah, I probably should.
I think that would be a fair thing because when for me, I've absolutely loved this conversation. There's so much to learn. It's super, super interesting. I think if you was to go into a school and from the get-go display the massive change that you can have and the impacts that you've had on so many different people,
Yeah,
also going, that you work alongside professional footballers, you're
yeah,
already straight away in their eyes going to be, highlighted.
yeah.
And it definitely beats some of the speakers that I previously had at school.
Yeah,
you know,
same.
that's such a cool mission, though.
Yeah, I think I've always that's what I've always wanted to do. But personally, yeah, like business wise, yeah, I just train athletes, celebrities. I'd like to end up opening up a place when we move back to we're gonna move to Surrey. So I'd like to open up a studio
Yeah,
there, just do a few things out of there. Maybe
really
try and
cool.
do a few like podcasts and things. That'd be cool.
Love it. Love
Yeah.
it, mate. You could probably squeeze in some modeling or something as well, just on the side.
Oh, yeah, might as well.
Do all right. What's been the best transformation or client journey that you've seen and helped with?
Yeah, I don't know. Won't say the name, but someone come to me. So this is actually a client I had in when I was working in person, personal trainer,
Yeah,
and we did everything to try and get this person to like start committing and actually just showing up, doing the workouts, doing the nutrition, all that kind of stuff. But this is what I felt with like in-person personal training, because you're with them for maybe an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours max in the week. There's 168 hours in a week,
yeah,
so there's so much time where you're not with them. So that's the thing with like online coaching. I can send them a text like through the week. I can get check-ins. I can do the videos. There's so much more I can do to kind of help out. But just this person just turned their life around. They were sitting inside for like weeks on end without leaving the house. This is kind of like through COVID times. Just out now. Their friendship group's bigger. They're doing better in work. Everything's better. Just lost a bunch of weight. That's probably the most significant one recently.
love that.
Yeah.
It shows the true power of prioritizing your personal health and fitness.
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
it
for
has such a bigger impact on every
sure.
other part of
Yeah,
your life,
yeah,
relationships,
yeah,
business, finances.
yeah,
You know, if you're not in the best shape physically, the chances of you having mental health problems, the chances of you struggling at work, business, relationships faltering is just so much higher.
yeah. So true. Yeah, that's why I work with a few guys that are very high up in the banks,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's a big thing. They, no matter, because they're so busy, they're flying away all the time. They'll always find the time. So I actually train a few just on Zoom, just
Yeah.
because I was in person with them. They have like gyms at their houses, so I actually train with them there. But they always show up to the sessions, and it's so cool to see because they are so busy and they could skip it so easily. But it's one thing they do prioritize,
Yeah.
and I think it is probably one thing that's kept them at the level they're at.
Yeah. That self-discipline is
Yeah,
just so important for every
yeah,
aspect.
yeah.
Super,
That's it.
super
But
interesting.
it's just, yeah, it's getting the ball rolling. Once you can get the ball rolling, that initial inertia is the hardest bit. So
Yeah.
if people listening that aren't kind of training that much, the initial inertia is the hardest. But once the ball's rolling, keeping it rolling is so much easier than getting it rolling.
Yeah. Love that. So I think that people listening to this are going to be like, okay, I now need to go and get a health MOT and I need to have my bloods done, possibly for the first time ever.
Yeah.
How would someone, well, you know, ultimately, how would someone go and get in touch with you? What would be the next steps?
If you want to get in touch with me, you can. At the moment, I'm not on social media, but I am still on social media, but I'm not actually using
Not
my account.
active.
No, I'm not active. But you can go onto my website. My website has a contact me page on there. Actually has the health MOT on there, so it'll give you a little description of kind of what we've been talking about. I've actually called it the health MOT, so
Nice.
that's good. Or you can just go to your doctor. You might be able to get a yearly checkup at your doctor, so possibly ask them. You could ask for just a basic blood panel, so you
Brilliant.
might be able to get it through there. But then you need someone that can interpret the actual details.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Like it. I
yeah,
like it. So, final question for me.
there we go.
And this is the question I ask every single guest that comes on the show. You may know what's coming, but the question itself is so the question is, what advice would your future self give you in this current moment?
Oh, nice. Go and ask the schools if you can help them out. No, it would be patient. Um, yeah, be patient, and it will work out. I mean, that's one of the biggest things. Yeah, I've learned recently is just you always want things to happen like yesterday, but I feel just being patient, especially in this game with the stuff I do, because it is there's so much research, there's so much learning to be done. Yeah, if we just be patient and it will work out.
I like that. I like that. I love that you brought up the school straight away. I think something that could be a really powerful step for you is
Yeah,
contacting probably the easiest school for you to speak at, which would be your previous school that you went to, if they've
yeah,
got a healthy relationship,
yeah,
and start there. I think that could be really cool. But I like the act of patience too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and that's especially at the moment, we're not patient at the moment, are we? With anything,
No,
everything's at your fingertips.
fully agree.
Yeah,
Fully agree. Well, Jay, this has been super insightful. I've absolutely loved this. I've loved delving into the details, and I've got a lot of my own personal questions answered. You've got so much knowledge, so much wisdom in this aspect, and you can clearly see the amount of value and experience and knowledge that you bring to your clients as well. You're showing it very professional, and I'm just super grateful for you coming on the show and just being open to chatting.
appreciate it, man. Thanks for my first podcast ever. So hopefully it will be.
First one,
Yeah,
what?
I know.
Man, it's start of something special.
Fingers
Start
crossed.
something special. I like it. James, massively appreciate you, buddy.
Cheers, man. Thanks very much.
No problem. My name is Samuel Main, and I truly hope that you've got value from today's video. If you have, please do hit like and subscribe down below, and I'll see you in the video tomorrow.